Welcome to High Ground. My name is Tanner, and today we are doing the follow-up video to the previous video. I went over the designer notes in the previous video, but I'm planning to go into a lot more detail here, and I've been playing some amount of the test server, so I've been trying some of the stuff out, and so maybe I formed opinions on things a little bit more now. And okay, so I imagine this is going to be a super long video. Well, whoever's watching this video, you already know how long it is. You can see it quite easily on your screen there. And okay, so I suppose only the real ones will tune in, so welcome. I'm curious, would you guys be interested in streams at all? I don't know how regularly I would do them, and if I would just do it when I play with my friends, or if I would do like solo stuff. Probably Siege, but maybe other stuff if you guys are interested. Let me know. It's just something that's sort of been on my mind, and really it's something that all creators of content ponder on, right? Okay, so Designer Notes Year 7, Season 3. And okay, so yeah, we are going to start with the win deltas and versus presence graph, I suppose. So here's the attackers. Things to note, obviously Finka way off the chart here, and at seemingly 90% or more. Yeah, it looks about 90%. And you'll also notice Montaigne and Cali with insane win percentages. I don't think that's very significant, except for that it's I think pretty directly as a result of the cheating epidemic that we deal with quite regularly. And Cali, I think, is just the cheater op of choice for whatever reason. Then Montaigne, it's related to cheaters in some way, I suppose, but maybe not, maybe slightly less directly than Cali. But also, if we go down here, Clash is a similar kind of thing, like 7% win delta insane, and 5.5 or so for Montaigne. Anyways, we're going to largely ignore that. I don't think it's significant in any other way other than that. Okay, Blackbeard, terrible op. Sense, I think it's pretty questionable. Like, it definitely has some applications, but it's just like, I mean, it's a lot like Glads, it's a lot like Blitz. I think it's even a lot like the new op that just came out, and maybe that op's a little bit more powerful. Grim, right? And people are calling it Lion 2.0, and it's just not right. Like, it does the same thing as Lion in the way that it can ping people, but when Lion was really ridiculously overpowered, it didn't just ping people, it outlined them, it wall hacked them, and Lion's ability was a global you could do from anywhere. This guy, you have to pull out the gadget, you have to shoot it in the correct position. You do get 5 of them, which is quite a lot, but still, it's just like so different. Even if maybe the use cases are similar, but with all the things I said for Lion, yeah, I don't think this operator is nearly as useful. And again, we'll see how impactful it is at really, really high level play, i.e. pro level play, but I don't think people are going to play it that much in pubs. And his kit overall isn't great. Well, I mean, it depends how you look at it. He is a 3-speed. First 3-speed we've had, 3-speed attacker, I should say, we've had added to the game since Maverick, like, what, 4 years ago or something? Quite a long time ago. And so it's nice, it's fun playing 3-speed operators. Pretty solid gun, has IQ's commando, not an especially high fire rate, but it hits really hard. It's, I guess, similar to the ARX people like quite a lot. It might kick a little bit more, and I'm not 100% sure. I haven't actually really used the gun since the recoil changes have come about. It generally was a fairly reliable gun before, and we'll see now. And well, I mean, yeah, a lot of the low fire rate guns are generally sort of lower recoil, more dependable in that way. So a solid-ish gun, 3-speed, but as is the curse of many operators, his secondary gadgets are what, Breach Charge and Claymore, which are just like the worst 2 options. Hard Breach Charge has certainly its applications, and all of the throwables are quite good. And then now even there's the EMP, also a throwable. So okay, I guess his kit, other than the secondary gadget, is pretty decent, but no explosives on the kit is always a bit of a cost these days. Okay, so what else do we notice? Yeah, Finka off the charts getting nerfed here. Yana also getting nerfed. Sledge might even get more popular just because he is unnerfed. One of the lowest recoil guns, one of the only ops left with frags, one of 4 operators. So Yana, Sledge, Nook, and Glaz are the 4 ops with frags. So I mean, this might just increase Yana, Sledge, and Nook. You're not gonna see Glaz with frags all that often. Might just increase their play. Well, maybe, I don't know, he's a Bearing 9, I guess, but mostly those 3 operators could go up potentially. Frags did get nerfed, but I think they're still going to be quite powerful. If nothing else, it is an explosive with which to clear utility. Even if it's harder to get kills, I don't think it's that much harder to get kills. It is somewhat significantly harder to clear gadgets, and again, we'll get to that change. You probably are already aware of it, but if not, yeah, we'll get there to the chart. So some other were just really good ops. Well, I guess I'm not that surprised Zofia's up here. I almost forgot about the LMG for a second. Yeah, the LMG's got nerfed pretty hard. I don't know if Zofia's was nerfed as hard as Finka's, because usually when people think LMGs. They think Finka at the moment, but yeah, Zofia's guns are a bit unruly. I don't think either of them are like unusable, but they're both fairly high recoil after the change. The AR may be the preferable choice now though, but still a super solid gadget though. And so what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just like 9 operators over here. We have the 3 hard breachers. I think this is about where they were before, right around the 0% in terms of well, relative presence, I guess, right on the intersection axis, 0% wind delta, and like whatever this is, 18% presence. And then a bunch of ops that just aren't that popular. Buck might get more popular. Osa might get more. Buck got the Gon 6. Osa got EMP Grenade. I think Osa's pretty good overall. The shield's pretty versatile. The gun's fairly reliable. The EMP Grenades are very useful. Probably one of the better ops that has access to it. Sledge and Knock, I think, both do too. But, I mean, don't want to give it the Frag Grenades. Lion also has it. Montaigne. There's like 3 other ops. We'll see that. But anyways, that's the attacker matrix. Let's go to the defender one. Again, Clash way off the charts here. Nobody quite as low as Blackbeard is on attack. But Goyo, surprising to see him so low. I think people are just bad at playing him. I think it's potentially a very powerful operator, but with so much of games being determined, you know, away from positions where you might set it up, you might not just get proper opportunities to actually detonate his canisters in positions. Maybe you can if you like have the foresight to do that sort of thing, but again, with the attackers being very strong, they might just gain an insurmountable advantage. They might even push you out of a position to be able to detonate the Goyo canister, but he's even getting the 1.5 sight, so I think a strong gadget, a good gun, and C4 as well. I think it's just a very powerful op, and again, just some really powerful ops people are bad at using in ranked. And you know, here's a zombie, extremely powerful op, perhaps still just the best defender, and just people aren't that good at using it. It's not even that popular. It looks like it's maybe like almost top 10 or right around 10th or something or so. But yeah, I mean, we have Alibi here, who is looks to be the second winningest operator and the most picked defender. I'm surprised Alibi survived getting nerfed. I really thought at the very least she was going to lose the 1.5 scope, and I mean, this is just a result of it being well, it's a powerful gun, and then powerful guns are also just meta at this point. You don't need to take utility as much as you need to win gunfights, and you know, it's a fun op with it. You get the bailiff, you get the shield or the impacts, and then the gun, the 3-speed, everything, the gadget, even you can get some shenanigans going with it. But yeah, very good op. Malusi very good. Jaeger remains very low on the wind delta, but pretty high on the presence. And then Mute got nerfed, K got nerfed, Omai got nerfed. All of them losing the 1.5 scopes. Thunderbird, the recoil might have been increased, just like, I mean, a lot of guns. The SMG-11 for Mute and Smoke, and I guess also Amaru, seems to have maybe less recoil than before, or at the very least, like, relatively low recoil, because everything else got sort of increased. It feels really nice to use, so if that actually makes it to the live build, then these might be actual, maybe not Slayer ops, because especially Smoke, you know, you usually need to play him in a certain way to try to stay alive to use the gas canisters, but maybe Mute, we'll have to see. But again, no more 1.5 scope, and then we just have some operators that are less fun to play. Mira, very powerful, banned a lot, but I guess not enough to really bring up the presence, and just a lot of 3 speeds down here. People don't like playing them. We have Rook, we have Echo, Tachanka, etc., etc. Pulse might go up, gain to the 1.5 scope. Yeah, you know, I don't think too much else to really talk about here. We'll move on. Okay, so we have the ban rates. Yeah, Thatcher at about 85%. Hopefully that'll go down. People will. I mean, I don't know what else people are gonna ban. Banning in ranked is just you just ban something you think is annoying, because it's not like you have intel on the other team most of the time. Maybe every once in a while you run into a name, be like, oh, that guy was destroying me on Ash, let's ban Ash, whatever. But it's not like, yeah, you have any sort of actual intel on them to make a target ban with, and so Jackal probably will remain really high. Didn't really get touched, super annoying op. Finka was banned quite a lot. This might go down. I think Finka still a really good op. Probably we'll talk about it more later, but losing the frags and the recoil change coming about, but the gadget untouched. So you know, Montaigne, Osa, maybe a few of these ops will go up as Thatcher goes down. Maybe Thatcher will probably remain really high, because people are just so used to clicking Thatcher in the ban phase. But we'll have to see with the introduction of the secondary EMP grenades. And then we have defenders, not quite as centralized on one operator as on attack, but still, you know, Mira, Valkyrie, Cade are the 3 most banned operators, and Cade losing the 1.5 scope, that's going to make him a lot less desirable. The gun's pretty solid, and the 1.5 scope is just everybody's favorite scope for the most part, but his utility is still pretty much second to none. We'll have to see how difficult it is for some people to actually clear the claw with the EMP because the radius is pretty small. I don't think you can just throw it at the electrified wall and it affects the claw, right? The claw has to actually be in the radius, same thing as Thatcher. So there might be a lot of cases where it's still difficult to clear off electro claws, and the nature of them not having to actually be on the wall can make it quite difficult. And certainly I think their radius is bigger than that of the EMP grenade. And I mean, I don't expect any of these operators to really change much. These will probably remain as the most banned, as they are sort of extremely powerful ops and sort of really polarizing, just to insane intel ops and then the best denial op on defense. Okay, so weapon recoil and stuff, yeah, they increase like all of the fully auto recoil. Some guns overall, on average, they increase all of the fully auto guns recoil. This is just on PC. It's separate from on console, so console can remain with low recoil as they need for their controllers, but who knows how many Zims are actually on console these days. Weapon recoil on console, yeah, they soften some of the ridiculous ones, they increase some of the low ones, population, targeted, whatever, all recoil attachments. So again, I'm gonna just keep zooming through the sort of surface level stuff that I already covered in the previous video. But yeah, they're adding Compensator. I don't know if Compensator is that important anymore, and it wasn't even that good before. There were a handful of guns that had like quite a lot of left-right recoil, not that much vertical. Maybe you slapped a Compensator on there, but I think generally you're gonna want to go with well, anything besides a Compensator. Probably also not a long barrel, but one of the extended barrel, whatever, but one of the other ones. And so they added it to a couple of LMGs and then some SMGs. Okay, so run Compensator if you want, but it doesn't seem very good because it almost seemed like they reduced left-right recoil in a lot of cases and just increase the vertical recoil. And well, because Compensator does not help with the vertical recoil, which was increased, it doesn't do too much. Yeah, Flash Hider give you a little bit less vertical recoil. It might be nice, but a lot of guns do have a ton of first bullet recoil, so I think a lot of people might be more so leaning towards the muzzle brake, or they might just say, whatever, I'll deal with the recoil and I'll take the bonus given to you by running a suppressor. And okay, so a couple of flash hiders removed, or a bunch of flash hiders removed, one added to the to Frost SMG, and then muzzle brake, yeah, so increases your recenter time and reduces your first bullet recoil pretty significantly. And again, a lot of guns, I think there were only a handful of guns that had like a ton of first bullet recoil before. I think maybe the most notable was Jaeger's AR, and the recoil, it's like kind of jumpy after that, but if you can manage the first bullet, I don't think it's like insane recoil, so you might opt for that. And we'll see. Jaeger even got the angled grip, so if you can go without the vert grip, you can rock it like that, get the quicker aim down sights time. Okay, vertical grip being added to a handful of guns, and this is really nice for Nomad, getting the 1.5 scope, getting the vertical grip. This makes it play just like Yana's ARX did before, except for, I guess, the recoil changes, but I was using it, it didn't seem like that bad. I'll see if I actually stick with running the suppressor on it. And I keep wanting to address suppressors, but it's right down here, so we'll talk about it down there. Glaz, this is nice, and then I don't know that either of these guns really needed the vertical grip, but maybe they did get additional recoil added as well. Suppressors, so probably like half the people I've run into on test server, maybe even more, have been running suppressor. I imagine this will continue. It's suppressor, it's just like, I mean, it's kind of fun to use, especially because we haven't been able to use them for most of Siege because they were like a pretty bad choice because of the damage reduction. I don't think this is the right move. I hope this doesn't make it off the test server. I think they need some penalty other than the removed. They need some penalty. It doesn't have to be the damage reduction, but it needs to be something. The only cost right now is, of course, the opportunity cost of a recoil reducing barrel attachment or the extended barrel, but they don't do that much, right? It's not like you're giving up a whole vertical grip. That does a ton for recoil, but the actual barrel attachments, they do a little bit, but maybe suppressor, I don't know, maybe suppressor needs to still have a trail, just less pronounced. Maybe I don't know, maybe it just needs reduced range or something, or maybe even, to be absolutely insane, make it so you can't one-shot headshot people with a suppressor through a soft surface or something. I don't know, like maybe they just need to bring back the damage reduction but make it very minor, like a 5% loss of damage, or just straight up 3 points flat or whatever. But I just think it's gonna be so annoying as it is now. And so we'll see if it continues. It might just be a flavor of the month thing, but it's just so annoying hearing like all the guns be suppressed shooting, not being able to track via tracers, and also not being able to track via sound nearly as well. Okay, extended barrel added to a ton of stuff. If you love having your barrel stick around a corner when you're hiding in a corner, feel free to run it. But it just seems like by far the worst attachment to run. Like maybe there's some actual use cases if you just tend to get into certain really long engagements, you can run it. But as I said in the previous video, yeah, one-shot headshots. I mean, you don't really need to be doing damage at long distance. You need to be shooting them in the head at long distance. Angled grip. So I'd kind of like to see angled grip get a little bit of a buff. I feel like they nerfed it too hard when they nerfed it. It was already like a pretty significant choice before. Some people run vert, some would run angled because, I mean, very often you're going to enter a gunfight already aimed down sights, so you're not getting any benefit from an angled grip there, but you will certainly get a benefit from the vertical grip. And now with the angled grip, its effectiveness being like cut in half or whatever it was, I feel like it could get a little bit back. And very widely accessible now, being added to a ton of guns. It wasn't on that many before, but it's on a lot now. So if you really like having as quick aim down sight time as possible, I mean, you can run it on any of these guns. And notably, a lot of them are even like long range guns. Like you got a DMR, you got a sniper, you got LMG, so on and so forth. So feel free. Laser added to a few guns, whatever. Nobody really cares about a laser. You can be a weirdo and run it if you really want, but you do what you got to do. Weapon sights. Yeah, this is very nice. This is one of my favorite things done. I'm not like a huge fan in the sense that it homogenizes everything, but I think just as far as the competitive aspect, I think it's just very obviously good. I thought it was cool. It was like kind of fun, kind of flavorful when random guns would have random scopes. A lot of people didn't like it. There was just something about it that I kind of liked, but it was also like, okay, I'm not going to play this gun because it doesn't have this scope. And it was especially frustrating, yeah, when you had access to like a 2.0 and not a 1.5. It was one thing when the gun had only 1.0s, but again, when you had a high magnification scope and you would have liked to have a 1.5, it was a little bit frustrating. Some really notable some ones to really note here. Fuse with the AK-12, that's going to be an absolute killer. Obviously, it's a very good gun, and then the 1.5 scope pretty much the most desirable. Gridlock gets it. Goyo's TCSG, which might have gotten reduced recoil. I saw somebody using it on a stream, and I didn't really use it too much before, but maybe check it out if you're a fan of it at all. Habana's Type 89 gets a 2.0. IQ's AUG gets a couple of scopes because it had only the ACOG for some reason. Jackal gets a 1.5. Lion, Nomad gets a 2.0. Had a 1.5 and an ACOG before. Osa, Thermite, Thatcher, Zofia, yeah, a lot of 1.5s on attack. So if you're a fan of that scope, you have a ton of options. But that's mostly for attack because on defense they actually took away quite a few. So they added it to the Vector. So I mean, not the best long-range gun. It does kick a good bit, but absolutely lethal close range. And I mean, I guess you just need the one headshot at long range anyway. So I think that'll be a fun one. Maybe that'll even make Goyo a little bit more popular. But Ace did lose the 2.0, so now you are stuck with a 1.5. I'm sure most people won't mind too much. Yana minus the 1.5 on the ARX, gaining it on the G36. So the ARX is probably just one of the most solid guns to use in terms of it does very high damage, and then also it has a pretty low kick. Yeah, so it's sort of made up for the low mag size and the lowish fire rate. It's not that low, I guess, but a very satisfying gun. No more 1.5. The G36 had the 2.0 a while ago, lost it, getting the 1.5. Maybe that'll be the preferred gun, but the G36, it's fairly consistent in every way except for the damage. It's just like, it's a little bit unsatisfactory at times. Frost getting the 1.5 back after having lost it a little while ago. Pulse with the ump and the suppressor. I think that's a bit of a monstrous combo. Yeah, it's still the ump, but I think it is still a nice combo there. Well, Mai and Cade and Mute all losing the 1.5. So these are all really powerful ops in terms of gadgets, and they all have, or I guess two of them have C4s. Well, Mai has impact, and so we'll see how this effect ranked. This might make people gravitate towards like Oryx and Alibi and a few other operators even more. But I guess I didn't count them all up. It looks like probably we're losing more. No, I guess we're losing 3 1.5s, gaining 3. So Frost, Pulse, and Goyo get it, and then again Mute and Mai and Cade losing them. But if I'm being quite honest, I'd rather my randoms play any of the 3 operators that just lost the 1.5 than them play any of the operators that gained it. Frost, sometimes it comes in handy. Pulse, especially if it's a random with no mic, well, it's not great. And then Goyo, yeah, if they just put them in weird spots, it's also not going to be great. Well, Mai and especially Cade and Mute are just very generally useful operators. As long as they put their gadgets in just any sort of non-brain dead location, they are sort of benefiting the team. And this will somewhat discourage your randoms, which is unfortunate. And they're not all, Ubisoft's not always like, oh, I have to think about what if a random does it. They're trying to balance the game. game, but it is a little bit unfortunate in that regard. EMP Grenades. So here's the actual list. I couldn't remember. Okay, I guess Gridlock and Dokkaebi and Blackbeard were the three I was forgetting. So Blackbeard's still a terrible op, whatever. Dokkaebi, you can maybe run it here. That I think this makes Dokkaebi just a real utility house. Like the gadget's very good. The DMR, even though DMRs like just aren't great by way of, well, shooting slowly, they can make holes in walls and destroy hatches pretty easily. They have that added utility. And then Dokkaebi with the EMPs or smokes or stuns, I think is maybe her kit. But it all comes together pretty nicely. Also has access to the Gon 6 or any of the SMGs. So she has a ton to offer, but it is just a little bit tough not having access to an assault rifle. And then again, Knock and Sledge, you don't really want to give up the frags. I think Osa. Sometimes you want the smokes. That really you can a little bit of a double threat when it comes to executing. You have the shields, you have the smokes, but you can now bring EMPs and then set up for the execute in that way. Help open the wall and Montaigne. I guess maybe if you like to pull out the Montaigne, but I think the biggest EMP bringers overall will probably be Lion and Osa. Maybe Gridlock. We'll see. But just Gridlock usually is not preferred over Nomads. So again, Lion and Osa. Okay, Frag Grenades. So here's that damage curve I was talking about before. Talked about in the previous video. Yeah, a little bit less lethal. It starts falling off earlier. It's slightly better right here for whatever reason. And then it finishes at 3.6 meters. So if you just toss a Frag Grenade on the ground to destroy whatever bulletproof gadget, you better hope it was in 3.6 meters. Before it was like 5 meters, a lot more generous. So the area is much smaller, but of course the radius is the most important thing. It's going down by at least about 1.5 meters, if not more. I don't know where this actually hit 0, if this was meant to hit 0 here or whatever the case was. Whatever. Okay, so yeah, nades from below probably still pretty similar. They're made a little bit less effective. There are a lot of times when you're watching a pro stream or whatever, and you're like, I cannot believe that guy just died from the range that that grenade went off from below the floor. Usually, sometimes just in general, but usually from below the floor. But again, 1/3 of the operators that have grenades now are losing them. So we'll get to that in a second. Hard breach gadget goes off a little bit faster. I think it's fine. Pretty inoffensive change. Fuse is speeding up the drilling time, so I think time for the gadget to actually start going off when through a hard surface, and I guess this is fine. It was like pretty lenient for the people getting Fuse. Maybe Fuse mains will get a few more kills now, especially at low level. We'll have to see. Increased pellet trails visibility, nice little quality of life thing. Added smoke grenades, so if you want to run that, what does he have, like hard breach charge or soft breach? I want to say it's maybe his kit, so smoke grenades is just a nice little option there. Callie, 4 charges, so not really the issue with Callie, I don't think, and maybe this is an attempt to keep her, try to make her relevant while the EMP grenades exist, the secondary EMP grenades, but still, most people don't want to run the sniper rifle. She has decent options as far as the secondaries go, but still, you want to have an assault rifle when you're an attacker most of the time. So the recoil stuff doesn't really do that much. It's a sniper rifle. You're probably going to be sorted out by the time you can shoot again anyways. If you are even still alive, you'll probably be dead, right? But maybe you're in the way back and they can't shoot back at you that well. Glaz gets the Claymore. It makes sense. It's weird that Glaz didn't have it. Just like if you thought about it, like, oh yeah, sniper with he wears the camo or whatever, wouldn't you think he has a Claymore to cover his back? But giving up the smokes or the frag doesn't really make much sense. I'm sure maybe some low-level players who love Claymores will love this, but whatever. Yeah, casual change. Capitao gets the Gon 6. Might not be the biggest impact ever, but it is a nice little change. It was pretty tough to take Capitao because he didn't have any sort of explosive, or Does he have stuns now? I don't even remember. He has hard breach charge or Claymore, right? He used to have stuns way back when, and I believe he doesn't have it right now. So again, no way to even burn out Wamai magnets or ADSs, and I guess his gadget does interact with Wamai, so maybe they thought it was a concern of him just being able to burn Wamai magnets on his own and then use his gadget. But okay, so now he has a Gon 6, blow up a little castle wall or Banshee or whatever else you want to blow up. Okay, Yana losing the Gon 6, also very good operator regardless. I think solid guns, man, a little bit unfortunate to lose the 1.5 on the ARX, but now the G36 a more appealing option. Still has frag grenades, one of only 4 operators. I think that'll probably still be significant going forward, and maybe this won't be the most impactful thing ever, but now that she's down to only 2 explosives, She won't be quite the no-brainer over the likes of Ashe and Zofia that she was before. Also with Ashe and Zofia, you know, the recoil changes and whatnot. We'll see where everything balances out. It might be a little bit of a struggle from among Yana, Finka, Ashe, Zofia, I don't know, Sledge, whatever. I'm sure Sledge will be picked, but of the other ones, it's not totally clear. And then Finka, yeah, losing the frag grenades, gaining smoke grenades. So this gives her stuns or smokes, probably smoke, or rather stuns are the better option than smoke in a lot of cases, but when you are, well, planning to do certain things and your execute, smokes are quite good. Some players, a handful of players would even run stuns on Finka, like notably Pambazoo on Dark Zero would play sort of a flank watch type Finka, play the stun grenades, and to do particular things, yeah, you're giving up frags, which is one matter, but I mean, in certain situations, stuns are better, and well, notably, you do get 3 of them, right? So there is that. I think it's still a very powerful operator. I think you can probably, you might just run the spear now. The recoil is a bit unruly on that LMG, but you can run stuns. You still have a good AR. The gadget still is very, very good. Maybe people will be inclined to run Finka more as a backline op. Maybe more like, well, what I just described Pambazoo doing, using it as sort of a flank watch and a backline medic. You don't even risk losing the gadget nearly as much, and you know, you still have a Gon 6, whatever. I'm sure, I imagine Finka's pick rate will go down, but I'm not sure if this is going to fully neuter her. Probably something needed to happen with her gadget. And then Maverick also losing the frag grenades, gaining stun grenades. Again, stun grenades really good, but I mean, especially on a character like Maverick, I think the frag grenades did him quite well, and he's much more of a niche operator now. Before, you had a good gun, you had frags, and you had, and you were 3-speed. It didn't even really matter that much what gadget you had, but he also had a very good gadget. And sometimes it's much better than others. Some situations you really need it, sometimes you don't really need it, but again, this definitely brings his overall power level down, which is probably fine. I am surprised they didn't give frags to like one more operator, one more like not very picked operator, since they took off 2. You can't even take a whole lineup of frags now, which I mean, that's not really the point of the game to have 5 frag operators, but now you can only bring 4. One of them's Glaz. We'll see how it pans out. Maybe in the next patch we'll see them back. Maybe the IQ grenades can return, and then finally Buck losing or rather Buck gaining the Gon 6. I think a nice change. I don't think Buck really needed a buff, but we'll see how it affects the meta and whatnot. I think Buck's a fun operator to play, a fun operator to watch. It allows a lot of really dynamic gameplay, and maybe this will allow him to be brought more. I guess he's buffed in the way that some of his competition was nerfed, not Sledge, who is his most direct competition, but the likes of you know, Finka and Yana and Maverick and whatever. As other good operators get less appealing, less picked, but still good operators, well, probably get more appealing. Buck, maybe you play a little bit differently to accommodate having the Buck on the lineup, and that should be a little bit easier with at least 1 explosive. So he has 3 stun grenades, or the hard recharge if you want to bring it, but again, you know, if he can burn for himself, and then he can destroy at least one thing, probably a deployable shield, but could be whatever. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Was there anything else I wanted to talk about here? I guess I mentioned about the suppressors. I mentioned this in the other video. Yeah, you have on the test server unlimited reserve ammo in the shooting range. Nice little quality of life change. I'm assuming we'll make that the live build. And then things that I think might not make it. The suppressor thing might be the only thing. I don't know if I've really even heard much outcry on anything else. Some of the changes seem like kind of whatever, like they didn't need to happen, but I guess I didn't see anything that I thought was bad, except for maybe the suppressor. We'll see how the frag grenade thing plays out. I think with the attackers feeling as oppressive as they do now, this will probably be a good thing. We'll see how EMP grenades actually pan out. It's not like they're on like every operator. It's not like they're on just all insane operators. If they put this on like Ashe and Zofia or something, this could be a bit crazy. But again, these are some of the less picked operators and some of the operators that do not want to give up their gadget for this gadget. And you know, the scope thing's great. I think maybe a few people are upset with, you know, their Cade losing the 1.5, their Sledge losing the ACOG, whatever, but probably mostly good stuff overall. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Okay, so I guess that's going to do it for this video. There have been a few announcements regarding roster changes for NAL specifically. Maybe I'll talk about the other regions a little bit. And I'm not 100% sure if I'm just going to wait for all of the transfers to have happened or if I'm just going to make videos as we go. But Beast Coast made an announcement. Oxygen made an announcement. Parabellum sort of made an announcement. Well, they announced who's leaving, but not who's being picked up, even though it's like pretty much known, I think. Okay, so I guess now I'm just sort of rambling. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, requests, corrections, whatever, I don't know if I just said the same thing twice, feel free to leave them below, and I guess particularly what you would like to see for the next NAL season. I might cut the power rankings. I'll probably do one like at the beginning going into the stage, but I probably won't do them weekly. We'll see. I might be changing up what I normally do, and let me know if you have any ideas regarding any of that. But okay, with all of that being said, I will catch you guys, like and subscribe, please, I beg of you. But okay, I'll catch you guys in the next video.